As we welcome in our Golf Channel senior writers, Rex Hoggard and Ryan Lavner, who are the Woodward and Bernstein of Golf Channel, appropriately enough for the subject matter these days. We're going to head back outside the ropes. Rex, what are you hearing in terms of the fallout or aftermath of that White House meeting on Thursday that involved Donald Trump, Jay Monahan, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, and the two player directors, Tiger Woods and Adam Scott?
Eamon, I showed up this morning at the Cognizant Classic, and I had two players stop me on the way into the media center to ask exactly where we stand. And there is a policy board meeting here tonight in South Florida. I'm not quite sure what's going to come of that, but certainly everyone is on pins and needles after last week's meeting. I think there was an idea, there was a feeling going into that meeting of optimism that maybe they could come up with some sort of deal, at least in principle. And when you meet with the president for 4 hours and come out with nothing to show for it, I think there is a level of frustration, and that's sort of the feeling on the grounds right now. Everyone is anticipating that there's going to be some sort of deal. What exactly that looks like, I think there's a lot of different interpretations, and at this point, everyone just wants it to be done.
Lav, wasn't it kind of to be expected, though? I mean, that's kind of one of the first times they've had everyone together with President Trump involved. To think that a deal was going to be hammered out exactly from that. If you're Yasser, you probably want to try and play whatever cards you can to get a more favorable terms in the near future, if you think that's even a possibility.
Yeah, I certainly understand that point, George, but there does seem to be a marked shift in tone from meeting one to meeting two. And the fact that they had 4 hours in the White House with the leader of the free world and we're still not able to hammer out a deal, I think speaks the complexities of it. Keep in mind, President Trump last year somewhat infamously said it would take him about 15 minutes to strike a deal between these two warring sides. Now, Trump did say over the weekend that there's still a, quote, really good chance of a deal getting done, but it's pretty obvious that there's legitimate sticking points, legitimate obstacles, and there probably is some leverage play going on here on both sides as well.
Rex, has the leverage diminished somewhat on the Saudi Arabian side here, in the sense that they are almost $5 billion in the hole? They don't have anything to show for it. Presumably, the boss is now paying attention, and the threat to keep spending money seems to have lost some of its potency, because since John Rahm 14 months ago, the only signing has been a YouTube golfer. Do you think the tour is as intimidated now by the threat to keep spending money recklessly as it might have been a year or two ago?
I think $5 billion speaks volumes on that front. And if you look at where we were just a year ago, right after the John Rahm sighting, I think there was the idea that was the ultimate leverage play, that if you could keep poaching players, that eventually the PGA Tour had to come to the table. Now, we have gone a year without any significant signings, as you pointed out, and I think everything swings now in the Tour's direction. They have time on their side. If you cannot turn this into a profitable endeavor, and I'm talking about LIV Golf, team golf, then there's no reason for the tour to rush to the table other than trying to reunite the game, whatever that's going to look like. So, yes, I think it's fair to say at this point in time that whatever leverage exists is on the tour's side, especially having President Trump in office. He clearly has an interest in this, and he clearly has an interest in the deal. That only benefits the tour.
Lav, I feel like since the Senate subcommittee meeting first occurred back in July of 2023, we keep trying to parse together a timeline for how imminent a deal may be. Based on the recent developments, what does your gut tell you looking forward?
Well, George, I think the timing now is very interesting, and that the tour remains in win now mode with fans of the product. Then you start to see, I think, a little bit more transparency, a little bit more accountability. I was at Pebble Beach where they trotted out some tour executives to sort of go over the fan forward survey, trying to show that there are going to be, improvements made to the PGA Tour product. Rex was at Torrey Pines for the Genesis Invitational, where Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour, was scrumming with reporters there. They're trying to be a little bit more front-facing to at least give the appearance that the PGA Tour is in a position of strength, and they are picking up wins. I think, obviously, everyone had circled the Players' Championship as a potential spot with the PGA Tour would have liked to announce a deal. That seems to be, at least annually, a spot where they, send out their latest and greatest and really get people excited about the PGA Tour product. Augusta National is not going to want anything overshadowing the Masters, and so it's hard to say that you could see that in the run-up to a deal as well. And so it feels like now, or potentially waiting just a little bit longer after the year's first major, but that's complete speculation on my part.
Ryan, just staying on that point of the tour wanting to communicate to its fans the possibility of a win, should they, excuse me, should they keep updating at the level they're doing when there isn't actually a deal? I get that they want to be transparent and there's no updates whatsoever coming from the other side of this conversation. Are they in danger of trying to kind of update fans and then eventually just make fans more weary because there isn't actually an update to give other than the suggestion of momentum?
Could be kind of the theory that this is just an update, that there is no update. But I think, over the past couple of years, we've been critical on this program. Rex and I have been critical on the podcast or on golfchannel.com about PGA Tour leadership and not taking accountability. And obviously you saw what happened June 6, 2023, sort of the blindsided nature of that deal getting announced as well. It's hard to be critical of them for saying they're MIA when it seems like the entire golf world is burning, and now be critical of them for trying to be more transparent, trying to be more accountable, trying to be more front-facing. I would certainly prefer the latter in the situation we're getting now, as opposed to sort of the code of secrecy that seemed to exist surrounding the PGA Tour over the past couple of years.
Yeah, kind of damned if you do at this point in time until a deal is actually put on the table. Guys, we're only at the halfway mark. We're going to have more with Rex and Lav after this short break here on Golf Today.